All right. Thanks, Stefan, for the introduction. And also from my side, a warm welcome to day 4 of OPC Day 2025. We had different presentations, as you have heard, relating to field level communications. And in my talk, I want to present the status and roadmap of the activities. Give me a second to share my screen. All right, so I want to talk about OPC UA FX status and roadmap. Just a small introduction, because we might have also listeners, attendees that have not been involved before in the topic. So just to quickly summarize, OPC UA FX is extending OPC UA to the field level. This means we are addressing the different requirements and different use cases in the field of automation, factory automation, process automation, and even beyond. So we are dealing with requirements such as deterministic transport, real-time behavior, exchange of safety critical information known as functional safety. And then we look into the different application areas such as motion control, remote IOs, or field instruments. And this is what we name OPC UA FX. What is the overall vision and what is the impact? So if you look to this slide, on the left-hand side, you see the conventional architecture in a factory or a plant. You go from controllers down to the field devices with the different field buses, either Ethernet based or non-Ethernet based. And you have OPC UA as the interface from the controllers up to any kind of software application, to the edge, to the cloud, whatever. And on the right-hand side, you see what is the vision for the future. We want to use OPC UA also in the field level to have then OPC UA as a unified industrial communication standard, completely scaling across the different levels inside, outside a factory or plant, and having a homogeneous solution where all the major suppliers build devices for. The agreement has been from the very beginning to have a subsequent approach. Step 1, first going into the horizontal connectivity between controllers to support real-time data exchange and the exchange of safety critical information. This is what we name C2C, controller to controller. And then in the next step, this is an essential step to come to this scalable solution approach, we extend the concepts for controller to device and device to device, C2D and D2D. And you then have all these connections or interactions vertically or horizontally in the different levels based on OPC UA. And OPC UA FX is the identity for the specific requirements in the field, but it includes all the features for the vertical connectivity. So the solution approach from an abstract point of view is the following. OPC UA FX is building upon the OPC UA framework with all the defined features and mechanisms like client server, publish, subscribe, functional safety. On top, the built-in security and the base models. We are then defining information models and device behaviors for OPC UA FX controllers and devices on top. And we are mapping to underlying communication protocols and physical layers, including Ethernet, including Ethernet Advanced Physical Layer APL, including time-sensitive networking, Ethernet TSN, wireless connectivity with 5G, and so on, because OPC UA and OPC UA FX are transport agnostic. And you see already here an important element of the approach, because we go with OPC UA FX into the critical operation of a factory or plant. Certification of OPC UA FX controllers and field devices is mandatory. Now an update, first of all, on the organizational structure. We have established since the beginning the steering committee for the initiative, which is defining the requirements, which is agreeing on the roadmap. Today, this steering committee consists of 24 member companies. We had recently 3 companies joining, with the companies Weidmüller, with the company Codesys, and Analog Devices. Important is that all these companies contribute financially and also with manpower, with human resources. We talk about an overall budget of $8 million. This is money we use for example, getting tests developed for the certification program, where we have also an editor or a director to be paid from, and certainly marketing activities we sponsor out of this budget. Important is that these 24 companies have given a commitment to support the common goal, and this is to bring OPC UA into the field level, to provide vendor-independent end-to-end interoperability into field devices, and this for all relevant industry automation use cases. From a technical perspective, you see here the working group structure for the FLC working group. It consists of overall 10 working groups, and you see here the list of working group chairs that take over the responsibility for the different elements in the technical approach. When browsing through the names and the companies they are assigned to, you see we have a broad coverage of major automation suppliers out of discrete automation, out of process industry. This is in order to ensure that we have finally a broad acceptance on the solution that we create. A few numbers here. We have for these 10 working groups more than 80 companies that are involved, and we count more than 270 experts that are all working for OPC Foundation member companies. Now, talking in the next few minutes about what has been achieved. This is certainly interesting to see what has been the achievement over the years. And you see we have here the sequence from left to right, from requirements going over specifications to enabling stacks or SDKs, to the prototyping, product development, and finally the product certification with certified products. First of all, based on the approved requirements, we have released all the base specifications for C2C as well as for C2D. This includes parts 80 to 83. These are the OPC UA FX specifications. It includes the part 15, OPC UA safety, and it includes the controller profile for C2C, described or specified in part 84. So this is the instruction, what elements you need to support to build a compliant OPC UA FX controller. We have commercial offers in the market that support not only the UA underlying communication stack, but also the FX features. For open source, we have prototypes that build on the Open 62541 and then add the specific FX features on top. We have built a consortium with more than 30 companies to jointly get developed a safety stack, which is currently under assessment by the notified body. And certainly we have companies that give implementation support in case companies need external resources for migrating their existing controllers to OPC UA FX. We have been organizing regularly and still doing this different events out of our prototyping working group activities. We organize plugfests for UAFX. Vendors participate in the IOPs of OPC Foundation, and we also have testbeds like the ones with the 5G ASIA, where we hear later this afternoon some further details on. And finally, when it comes to product certification, we have been working on the testing tools. First, the compliance test tool of OPC Foundation with extensions to support UAFX. In addition, safety compliance test tool that we have been developing for OPC UA safety, which is currently under the assessment by a notified body regarding client server. And what we will also hear a little later is we have now started an offering to do Ethernet APL testing in our testing laboratory. In November last year, we launched the certification program for OPC UA FX controllers. That means vendors can already today register their controllers for being certified, getting certified in our testing laboratories. Now the road ahead is certainly building upon all this, these activities and achievements. We are currently working on the enhancements to our base specifications with the priority on C2D. So we are adding specific features like the bootstrapping, like parameterization, or also enhanced networking. And we certainly do maintenance of the C2C mechanism, but the priority is now on C2D. And we certainly work on the specifications on the different facets for the different device types, including motion devices, I/O devices, and field instruments. Once we have completed these specifications and specification enhancements, we will, like we did for controllers on C2C, develop the profiles for controllers and devices regarding controller to device. And this is then, let's say, the instruction kit to build compliant controllers and devices for the C2D use case. Certainly, the open source offers and the commercial offers need to be also enhanced. We also expect to have a complete open source solution available with all the FX features included. This is on the roadmap. Then we will certainly continue the different events to bring together companies to get their devices and controllers tested. This is an established procedure we have in place. And then finally, we will certainly look at enhancing the existing test tools, the CTT with extensions for C2D, the safety compliance test tool for enhancing with the PubSub and UAFX support. This is on the roadmap. Then the Ethernet TSN testing, similar to what we have now in our offer with regard to Ethernet APL. And finally, a certification program for C2D for controllers as well as for devices. And I think what comes really out of this graphic is that it is an evolution going from existing OPC UA to OPC UA FX, let's say in the lower part, and then do the further evolution into C2D based on all this basics and the foundation into making it a complete and scalable solution. The summary of what I have been just explaining is on this slide. This is more for you when you get the slides that you can read through and get a summary of my statements. So this is nothing I need to go through right now. Now, what is always impressive, and I added this slide again because you see so many companies that have already been built OPC UA controllers and are on the way to migrate towards OPC UA FX. So from the 17 controllers in the demo that we showed last week at the SPS Italy in Parma, we have 16 controllers mounted here in hardware. We have in addition one software controller. Already 50% are actually UAFX prototypes, and that can be part of our demonstration at the show, and this shows, let's say, the broad support and also the expectation to soon have also certified controllers in the market. I'm showing this slide out also of a different reason. We started recently the preparation of a similar wall where we will already add prototypes, device prototypes, in order to start demonstrating the C2D use case. So the idea is to move all these controllers up in the higher area and then have the different prototypes for devices, for OPC UA FX devices in the lower part, including motion devices, I/O devices, field instruments. And we will communicate further details how you can be involved and how you can contribute in a few weeks. Now we will have a talk about the certification and the testing later on, so I'm not going into details here, just expressing the need and the importance of the certification with the different tools in our certification program. I'm also just quickly mentioning the new offer for Ethernet APL testing. Also here we have a separate talk later on. We are offering testing with and without OPC UA interfaces, and once a device is certified by us regarding APL, this certificate is also accepted by other SDOs in case this device is supporting multiple protocols. Another update I want to give about our activities on Ethernet TSN testing. Here we are also together with other SDOs and collaborate in the TSN Industrial Automation Conformance Collaboration. The goal is to create a common test specification for the IEC IEEE 6802 TSN profile for industrial automation. Work is in progress. We have did some, let's say, good improvements over the last weeks, also with face-to-face meeting. And the plan from the timeline you see here is that by end of the year, we have a draft available, which is the common test specification submitted for approval by the steering committee we have established. And this goes, so to say, in parallel with the final release of IEC IEEE 6802 later this year. A quick update on the combination of 5G with OPC UA and OPC UA FX. We have established a liaison with the 5G ASEA since quite a while. We have had some publications like the white paper, integration of OPC UA in 5G networks. There is an interesting podcast with Shirley An from Huawei. And just recently we had live demos presented at the Hanover Fair that was in early April this year, with a remote control of a crane over private 5G network, and the other one extending the controller to controller demo with remote controllers via 5G. For these test beds, we have also a dedicated presentation later on, so I'm not going into details here. My final 2 slides are just including some links in case you want to dive deeper in the topic, especially if you are a newcomer. First of all, you here have the link to a landing page on the OPC Foundation website, also with information how to get signed up to the working groups. There are multiple presentations about field level OPC UA FX on the YouTube channel of OPC Foundation. You have a link here to the playlist. And finally, a link to the different publications we have been doing, flyer, technical papers, and also links to brochures explaining on APL. Even we have a talk later on this as well, and the integration of OPC UA in 5G networks. All right, with that, I'm ready and I'm done with my presentation. Thanks for your attention, and we certainly have a Q&A session later in case you have any questions. Thank you very much.